Hey there neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Hellwig front anti-sway bar here on our 2024 Entegra Odyssey Class C motorhome. So the first thing you'll probably notice once you pick up your motorhome and start driving it around is just the stark difference in handling and ride comfort compared to your passenger vehicle. Now with motorhomes, it's going to be kind of a losing battle when it comes to obviously aerodynamics and then also just sway. Now, there are some things that you can do to help kind of mitigate that and make it a much more comfortable ride quality, so that way you don't feel as tired and fatigued once you get from your home all the way up to that campsite. And one of those ways is going to be going with a larger front anti-sway bar, which is exactly what we put on our motorhome today. And what that's going to do is, the thicker the bar is, the stronger it's essentially going to be, and the better it's going to perform when we're starting to experience those sway events, which typically happen because, like I said, we got this big bulky exterior that really isn't aerodynamic. We're getting all these crosswinds just from other traffic, not to mention just if it's a windy day out. And then a lot of the time these Class C motorhomes have a lot of weight kind of more set on one side versus the other. So from there, what I typically like to recommend is maybe going with some other suspension enhancement like some sumo springs or something like that, where it can kind of help stiffen up the suspension, and then you don't have that side-to-side play as much. But like I said, starting out with that front anti-sway bar is going to make a major night and day difference for you. So with that being said, why don't we get inside, we'll get this up on the lift and you can get a closer look at it. So now that we're down in the shop, I can give you a closer look at not only our factory sway bar, but also our new sway bar that's already been installed. You can see just right off the bat, the size difference here is the biggest factor, and that is going to give us a much higher performance here. So we're going to have a lot less sway, and it should make it feel a whole lot smoother as we're transitioning from maybe highway traffic where we're getting all those crosswinds, even down to just making a turn whenever we're trying to turn onto another street or in tight quarters in a parking lot, and it'll make it a whole lot easier for us. So the difference here, like I said, this is 7/8 inches in diameter, and our new one is 1 3/8. So it's a ½ inch difference. So it's going to be a major difference when it comes to the actual handling overall. And our beam itself here, it is made of a 4140 chromoly steel, which has a high tensile strength, which means it's going to be able to flex down and then flex right back up. And it's going to keep that, and it's designed to really resist any kind of wear and tear. So I wouldn't really expect to see much wear and tear on the anti-sway bar itself. What I typically do see is the bushings either up on our axle bracket or frame bracket, depending on which one you're installing, and then the end links themselves. Usually the bushings on those will typically blow out first, or I've seen end links just kind of rust away over time. Usually that's the threaded rod versions that I've seen that happen with, not so much this one where it's one solid piece of metal, but that would be one where I'd probably see maybe the bolts are going to start rusting out and corroding over the years. But overall, just once in a while, get down here and check it out. If you start to notice you're getting some squeaking with the sway bar, most likely it is that you've run out of lubrication in your bushings, and you might have to just disassemble the axle bracket here or the frame bracket, get in there with some more lubrication, kind of smear that around, get that coated real good again, and then you should be all good to go. Overall, this should be a much needed upgrade for your ride quality, and it's going to look good the whole time because it's got a nice hammered powder coat finish on here, so you won't see kind of like what we're starting to see with this one here, where it kind of gets sun faded because the clear coat that they put over it starts to kind of wear away, and then once that's gone, you pretty much just start seeing the black paint just chip off and crack, and you'll start seeing like orange spots in it. This one's not too bad, but it's only a year old, so we'll definitely see a lot more wear and tear on some of these older models. And if this had stayed on for maybe 4 or 5 years, you'd probably really starting to see some corrosion. Now, installation of this sway bar is honestly super easy. This is one where you don't need a lift. You can honestly just kind of lay right in front of the motorhome and still reach everything. The only thing I really had a problem with was just these front bolts. So this one actually came off pretty easy, but this one over here at the front, I had to hit for quite a while with our impact, and then I switched over to our heavier duty air tools. If you are finding you're having a hard time getting that bolt out, that might be the first thing to check, just to see if you can even do it yourself at home. If you find that you can't get that bolt out, then definitely feel free to use our dealer locator, and you can enter in your zip code to find a shop near you and get it professionally installed. If you started this, got that bolt out, realize that you can do the rest of this install, but still want a little bit of a walkthrough, then stick around and we'll help show you the process. All right, starting off our install, we got to remove our factory sway bar, and I'm going to start off with the D-shaped brackets here. We're going to have an 18mm socket on our first bolt towards the front of the vehicle. Behind that, there's going to be a smaller bolt, and that's going to require a 15mm socket. All right, so I got the first bolt out. Now there's a lot of blue Loctite on these. Did not want to come very easily. I did have to switch over to our air tools instead, just to have enough strength to actually break that free. So might be a big fight for you. Just a little heads up. Let's get to the back side here now and see how tight that one's going to be. I'm going to loosen it just a little bit, and then I'm going to switch back over to the other side because I kind of want that there. I guess it doesn't matter. This one isn't super heavy. If it does kind of swing down on you, and it's pretty small, so I think we'll be okay. I'll just pop this off. Next, we're going to be removing it from the end link, and we only just need to take off this one bolt right here, or nut, I should say, which shouldn't be too hard because once you get that loose, it should just kind of spin off, and then we can leave our end link here. We're going to be reusing that with our new one. Just pop that out, and we'll do the same thing over on the other side. While I'm loosening that though, I am going to leave this one in just to kind of help hold that up so it doesn't fall down. All right, now we can drop out our factory sway bar. And we're going to get ready to lubricate the bushings for our new one. So grab yourself some gloves. The lubricant, pretty sticky. It's really kind of like tacky. It'll get on everything, and it's not something you really want to have on your skin. So now we're going to take our bushings, these guys right here, and we're going to lubricate them. So I'm going to squeeze in a good glob of this lubricant into our bushing here. And then once you have these all lubricated up, we're now going to attach them to our sway bar right on this little bend right here where it comes back straight. We'll pop that onto that side, one on the other. And then our D-shaped brackets are going to pop on just like so. We got that front one, and then we'll have the rear one that's going to take up the gap here, and then we'll have our bolts go through. Now the bolts, we're going to be reusing the front factory one, that big one that we were using the 18mm socket on. That'll pop through the front. And for the back one, we're going to switch to the supplied bolts and flat washers. Now before we put this up though, we do want to make sure that we hit it with some blue Loctite, which is also included in the kit. We'll put that on the factory bolts as well. So I'm going to get that ready now, and then I'm also going to grab a second set of hands and swap out my gloves because I don't want to keep spreading this around. All right, I've grabbed Matt now and some new gloves, and we're going to lift this up into place. Now make sure that you have it so that the arm of this is facing down. That way it can go over the tie rod here and tie into our end link. So I'll lift this up. We'll get it over the tie rod first. We can pop in our end link if we want to. Just push that through to kind of help hold it up there too. Find the hole, there it is. That threaded in a little bit. All right, now we can get our back one in. Grab my socket. Okay, a couple threads on there. All right, so it is going to be an 18mm for the front, and now with this new one, it is going to be switching down to, I think it's 17 probably, yep. So 17 now for our new bolts that were included. I'm going to snug these down real quick. Not too tight though, because I do want to have a little bit of movement here still so I can get my end links all lined up and tightened down as well. So now I'm just hand tightening on our factory nuts that we had, those flange nuts for the end links here. And let me get both of them somewhat started before I start fully tightening it down. There we go. Once you have it, you can then grab your 18mm socket and then torque it to spec. So now with all of our hardware torqued, our next step is to get off the lift here and kind of shake the vehicle. Essentially, we want to kind of stress the suspension just a bit, see if this is going to end up coming into contact with anything else. So what they recommend doing is turning your wheel all the way to the right, all the way to the left, seeing if the tie rod kind of moves anything and would come into contact with it. And then just kind of pushing down on your front bumper and your rear bumper too, kind of compress and decompress the suspension. And then if you don't see anything wrong, you don't see any kind of spots where it might potentially hit something, then you should be good to go. The only thing left to do is after the first week of driving around with it, you are going to want to come back, recheck your torque values, make sure everything is still as tight as it should be. And then from there, it's just your occasional use. So if you're using your motorhome quite a bit, this might be something where you want to do it once a month, just get under there and check it. With this being so close to the front and wide open here, you don't really even need to lay under it. You can kind of just lay right in front of it and get to it real easy. So this one is a really easy one to keep up on your maintenance on. Well, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the Hellwig front anti-sway bar here on our 2024 Integra Odyssey Class C motorhome. My name's Kevin. If you still have some questions about what's going to be the right anti-sway bar for your motorhome, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out in your journey.